Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming to this Sunday service this morning. I hope you enjoyed the Thanksgiving last couple of days. I think you ate a lot of food last couple of days. So when I'm looking at our internet or TV, so we hear sad news from the Europe and the Middle East. The war is still going on, Ukraine and Israel. So first of all, I'd like to express my deepest sympathy to the victims, all the family and friends who lost their family member and friends. When I'm hearing these news, I feel the hatred is rising in the people's mind and clashing with each other. I'm really afraid that this world is being divided into two halves. So Buddhism, is a teaching of being freed from cycle of suffering and a chain of hatred. We are liberated, freed from this cycle of suffering, cycle of hatred, and pursuing the state of perfect tranquility. That we call satori, or enlightenment. While walking the Buddhist path, we learn the teaching of interdependency, right? Well, our life is interdependent. That's one of the most important teachings. Our life is interdependent. So we learn the teaching of interdependency rather than dividing the friend at four. So we learn the view of oneness rather than the dualistic view. Our lives, views, cultures, traditions, histories are all different. All different people are living together in this world. So everyone is connected, interacting with each other. It is the Buddhist path to awaken the Buddha nature. Buddha nature is universal truth. And our Bonbu nature, Bonbu means ordinary beings, imperfect self, our human nature. I strongly wish that all wars would stop right away and everyone would live in peace and harmony. We learn the guidance from the Sutra. On this occasion, I'd like to introduce one of the three Pure Sutra. Three Pure Sutra is the Rajagrha Sutra, the Contemplation Sutra, and Amida Sutra. So today, I'd like to introduce one of the three Pure Sutra, the Contemplation Sutra, and think about how we, as a Bonbu, can live in this world together. So about 2,500 years ago, there was one kingdom called Magadha Kingdom in ancient India. I kind of put the characters on the screen, but I hope it is much easier to understand these stories. King Bimbasara, second from the right. That's just an image I took from the internet, so that's not a real character of King Bimbasara, but King Bimbasara and Queen Vaidehi on the left side, they are both devoted Buddhists. They are both devoted Buddhists and deeply appreciated the Shakyamuni Buddha's teaching. So their time, together, living together around that time, Shakyamuni Buddha was in India and Nepal. So they are both devoted Buddhists. So then Queen Vaidehi, King Bimbasara had a child, and his name was Prince Ajatasattu. Second from the right, Ajatasattu. So one day, Ajatasattu met a Buddhist monk. His name is Devadatta, who was Shakyamuni Buddha's cousin. Devadatta is Shakyamuni Buddha's cousin. Devadatta was a really clever, smart monk, had a strong ambitions to become a head or leader of the Buddhist community. Devadatta seduced Ajatasattu with a subtle flattery. He told Ajatasattu, "You remove your father, King Bimbasara, from the throne and become the king of this kingdom. I remove Shakyamuni Buddha and become the leader of the Buddhist Sangha. Then two of us, we can control this kingdom as we want." Ajatasattu rose to bait and imprisoned his father, King Bimbasara, to starve to death. Queen Vaidehi was shocked when she heard her husband was imprisoned by her son. Then Queen Vaidehi, she secretly delivered some food and drink to her husband, to the prison. King Bimbasara also begged Shakyamuni Buddha to send his disciples to the prison. Shakyamuni Buddha received his wish and sent his two disciples. One is Mahamaggalayana Mokuren, and another disciple is Venerable Hurna. They visited him. These two disciples, Shakyamuni Buddha's disciple, visited King Bimbasara and delivered Buddhist precepts and teachings. King Bimbasara was able to hear Buddha Dharma and walk the Buddhist path even he was in the prison. Because of their support, King Bimbasara was able to maintain his body and mind in good health, although he was in prison. Even after 3 weeks, Ajatasattu hadn't received any notice of his father's passing. Ajatasattu asked the prison's guard, "Is my father still alive?" The guard replied, "Yeah, he's still alive, because your mom, Queen Vaidehi, was secretly delivering some food and drinks for him. Shakyamuni Buddha's disciple visited him to deliver the Buddha Dharma, so he is still alive." Upon hearing these words, Ajatasattu got mad. He was really angry. He was really mad at his mother, who did an act of betrayal against him. He took out a sword, then tried to kill Queen Vaidehi, his mother. At that time, two wise and intelligent ministers stopped him. "Don't do it, don't do it." Stopped him from killing his mother. He was convinced by their appeal, but still, Ajatasattu was in a rage, and he imprisoned Ajatasattu imprisoned his mother, Queen Vaidehi, as well. From the prison, Queen Vaidehi also begged Shakyamuni Buddha, "Shakyamuni Buddha, I need your guidance. I need your help. Please send your disciples, Ananda and Mokuren, Mahamaggalayana, to me." Shakyamuni Buddha received her earnest wish and sent these disciples to Queen Vaidehi. Moreover, Shakyamuni Buddha himself also visited her in the prison. When Queen Vaidehi raised her head after bowing, she saw Shakyamuni Buddha, whose body was the color of purple gold, sitting upon the lotus flower. She cried bitterly and asked Shakyamuni Buddha, "Why do I experience such a horrible thing? Why do I have such a wicked son? Why and what karmic conditions could have caused you to become a relative to Devadatta?" Because Devadatta is the one who told him, let's please remove your father. Her son imprisoned her husband to starve him to death, and moreover, she was almost killed by her own son. Her sorrow and suffering rose one after another in her mind. She kept injecting her concern and frustration with the words of why to Shakyamuni Buddha. Contemplating the karmic causes and conditions of the tragedy at Rajagrha, Ajatasattu's birth was deeply connected to this tragedy. So this is the really beginning of the Contemplation Sutra. So this story is to be continued. I can introduce the following story maybe next Sunday, so you have to come next Sunday. So, but you know, first I read this Contemplation Sutra, my image of the Sutra is completely changed. I thought the Sutra, you know, before I studied Buddhism, Sutra is telling us some beautiful words or some, you know, wise word. But this Contemplation Sutra begins with this story of the tragedy at Rajagrha. Then after that, Queen Vaidehi, you know, now Shakyamuni Buddha visited Queen Vaidehi at the prison. Then now the Contemplation Sutra is focusing on the conversation between Queen Vaidehi and Shakyamuni Buddha. So Shakyamuni Buddha is going to give a guidance to Queen Vaidehi. So although, you know, so many things are happening around her in her life, so Shakyamuni Buddha tried to, well, then Queen Vaidehi also lots of questions. Then eventually Queen Vaidehi decided to walk the path to the Amida Buddha's Pure Land. So these stories, well, these stories are on the newsletter too, so you can read the newsletter. Then I can introduce the following stories maybe next Sunday or some other Sundays. So, but Sutra, you know, we are saying 3 Pure Land Sutra we are following. It is nice to read these sutras. We read this sutra, then reflecting upon ourselves. We can compare this tragedy at Rajagrha and our human world and my wife. Then we can hear the words how Shakyamuni Buddha guided Queen Vaidehi. Then that guidance is not only to the Queen Vaidehi, the guidance is to me, who is also living in this human world. Well, thank you for attending this service this morning. To conclude my Dharma message, please join me in Gassho, put your hands together. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda, Namanda, Namanda.